What's good, everybody? Today is July 23rd. Today was a super interesting day of price action, and I always say that, but today I actually mean it because today was one of those days where we literally woke up, we had the most beautiful trade ever, we took it, and it didn't end up playing out. So it's always a moment for us to come back and actually look at what went wrong, what can we improve on ourselves as traders, and we can actually just look at, what is the market trying to teach us today. So I ended up waiting for the overnight session to kind of start and the market to close so I could actually get a better idea of what price did through the rest of the day. So we can actually figure out the whole narrative of price, the phases that it was in during the day, and how we actually read it wrong, and if we even did read it wrong. So without further ado, let's just get into this recap today. Jeez, I gotta clear up some charts, bro. Let's zoom out to the weekly. Check out, we're all really bullish. We're at all-time highs, just beautifully pumping. Onto the daily, we're starting to kind of slow right here, accumulate. Now we're getting expansion out. So like I said, the market moves in phases, like we all know. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution. We see right here, accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Now we're getting continuation right here. Swing traders, like this was your bomb ass entry, and now you can catch some standard deviation levels, stuff like that. So not going to call anything here, but for the future, this is potentially where we could see price head. Just saying, this is potentially where we could see price head. So same exact rundown on NQ right here. So now zooming to the 4 hour, what do we have? We start the day somewhere around right about here, right? So on the 4 hour, we are in bullish order flow on ES, but not on NQ, right? So our lows to market out are highs. We have this sell side liquidity sitting down here. We had this for value gap right here. I had this buy side up here. And then let's move to ES. We had this same buy side level all the way up here. Same exact sell side level down here. But this 4 hour for value gap did not exist. And instead, we were pushing off of somewhat equilibrium of this entire range right here. So if you look, just purely watching 4 hour higher time frame analysis, we're pushing and we're within this huge 1 hour imbalance right here. Could most likely actually refine that to this order block right here, because that's where we started finding support right at this level, or resistance, I mean. And then what we see is a complete slowdown, right? Absolute slowdown, right? Now ES is looking very bullish to this level. It's completely displaced through that for value gap, and ES is looking like it wants to go take this high. Well, NQ is still looking a lot more bearish, right? So now what I want to see is I want to see, moving into the day, what session or which index actually takes hold and shows me the real direction. Because ES looks bullish, NQ looks bearish. I just want to see what we do, right? Keep in mind, we have generated liquidity all the way up here, somewhat of a lower resistance liquidity run, and the same for here. However, we have tons, in my opinion, this was way more beautiful. We had tons of this huge, beautiful, just lower resistance liquidity sitting down here. We could definitely want to see it tap lower into that daily for value gap, which was sitting somewhere about like right here, something like that. So we could definitely want to see a tap lower into that, make the manipulation leg displace out of that, and that would be our higher time frame model, right? But sometimes we just have to trust order flow, right? So just get into the analysis, see what kind of price started doing. On market open, we have right here 930. We have a beautiful, beautiful sweep of this external high, putting in a huge external SMT, huge. And then we have the same exact level, same exact time, putting in an internal SMT, right? Internal, external SMT. This is beautiful confirmation for sure, especially with all of this low resistance liquidity sitting here. So what could possibly go wrong? So we into the 5 minute, we have our beautiful model. And now this is where the first entry took place. On NQ, I'm checking out NQ because in my opinion, NQ looks a lot weaker, right? It's holding on to this for value gap. Well, ES already took the high on the left side, right? NQ is holding on to this for value gap. It's in 50% of the range. We have SMTs. We're expecting NQ to now drop, take all of this low resistance liquidity. So what do we need to see? We need to see our entry model confirmation to confirm that this market maker model is now going to spark, right? So what do I need? I need inverse for value gap. We get that, boom, right here. Inverse, I need change in the state. We get that, boom, right here. Now, if you want to mark the 15-minute change, which is actually what we ended up finding support off of, it would be right here. So marking that looks somewhat like this on the 5 minute time frame. So now, zooming down lower, we see this entire move happen, and this is 930. This is literally like right within the first couple minutes of open. So pulling price all the way back over to here, we see 930, 931, putting in first presented right here. And now this was a very similar situation to yesterday, like scarily similar situation. So what we do is we zoom down lower. See, 30 second, we're in a 1 minute for value gap right now. So if we want to take trades, we have to be very, very zoomed in. So if we look, 5 second shows us not really much of a model here. And I'll tell you why I didn't end up taking the 5 second trade here. We end up putting in this for value gap right here, and on that 932 candle close, we make a ton of imbalances, right? This is not generated liquidity. This is simply just price sitting here and making an imbalance and then accumulating, manipulating, distributing, right? There is no perfectly stacked equal or relative equal or just perfectly like paradigm lows like this. Like this is what I want to see as my signature that price is engineering sell side for itself to go ahead and hunt later, right? Did not see that. Instead, we saw this imbalance get put in, then we see some of that. So I'm still sitting here and being cautious, right? That's why I didn't end up taking any kind of false fake out entry on this first presented for value gap, right? So marking this better, this would be first presented, right? So now let's zoom back out and let's look what trade I would have taken if I was present for the session today. Sucks to say that because this was really beautiful and I wish I could have actually hopped in, right? So drawing out our entire range at that moment. At that moment we had, here, zoom to the 30 second. At this moment we had this entire 1 minute range happen. This is like 3 minutes into open. First presented gets put in, so now we have a opinion on like where price wants to move for a direction, right? So we see price comes back up, finds support off that 15-minute change of the state. We see back to equilibrium of this new range that we just created. We see an internal SMT get put in right about here, looking super, super beautiful to have the exact same model that we have on the higher time frame. Keep in mind, we are fractal traders here. I have a bigger time frame market maker model, then I zoom in to find the lower time frame market maker model. I take that trade, I take low hanging fruit as my first take profit, and then I leave runners for that external draw. That is how I snipe the market. It's such a simple system. It's really so simple, but it's simple, but it's so effective. So zooming down, what we see is that internal SMT gets put in. Just checking, where do we reject on ES here? At the exact same 0.5 level. 15-minute change of state probably would have been somewhere around here on ES, right? So zooming in, the trade you could have taken here would probably be on the 15 second, honestly. I think structure would have been clearer there. And for me, what time frames I choose are really just, you don't overthink it. You just really have to understand structure is the most important part, right? So here, if we were looking at this and we were waiting for our first entry, we would need displacement through this low, inversing this for value gap, maintain stay here. Didn't see that. And so we got accumulation, more manipulation, SMT at this highs. We had distribution lower. So after these for value gaps get put in, and this is clear distribution. Understand that. This is clear distribution. Our change in the state level would have been right here, because if we look on NQ, that same candle close, this low right here at 937.45, 937.45, this is a change of state on ES that actually swept liquidity. So now we can make this be the change of the state on NQ because this level was the manipulation leg. If we go ahead and project this leg out, this is the manipulation leg. Even though it doesn't actually manipulate price higher, that is a manipulation leg. That is how I take trades. That's how I understand these things, right? Especially when you have SMT at the highs. This is an awesome confirmation, right? So the trade here would have been this for me. Short here, I put the stop at that SMT high, and then I go ahead and I target the low hanging fruit. So I'm gonna right here, or I target that -2 level. And this is something that I've been testing when low hanging fruit gets hit. Does that -2 standard deviation always usually get hit? And a lot of times for me, it depends on how far away in terms of this distance of the 0 here or the -1 all the way to that, or I think this is +1 actually. The top of that manipulation leg, so +1 all the way down to -2. This distance comparison to this distance, and I'm currently pulling data on this. So once I get a ton of data, I'll actually make a YouTube video on this and we'll go over it and see how much this can increase your profitability if you always implement this in my system. And I think it'll help you guys get a lot of clarity on how standard deviation actually works and why it's just so effective in my opinion. So yeah, this would have been your trade. I mean, this was a beautiful bang, 0 drawdown, such an efficient trade. How would I have left runners here? So assuming you take this or this, next thing I would have to zoom out and say, where is their potential level for price to draw towards, right? So pulling horizontal ray, you have these, which I think got hit at the same point. We have these right here, so more equal. We have these right here. We have, zooming over here, this would probably be our last draw right about here. And then we have that full level low, right? So yeah, in my opinion, your first runner could have been this low hanging fruit, next could have been here. Then final, I would have taken it to this level or 3.5 because they're relatively close, right? And you would have got banged on either of those before market starts to sit here and accumulate, right? So this was beautiful, like I said, and this was the first trade that I wish I could have been here for. And unfortunately, I slept in. Not even a cap. your boy slept in, and that is something that I have to work on 100%. And that's what the market tried to show me today. It shows me that if you wake up and you wait to apply your system, you will get blessed every single day. Maybe not every single day, but every single week, every single month, you will get blessed. And if you come on here and you think you can wake up late, you think you can do this, that, you will not get blessed because you're not following your system. If you are able to follow your system and catch these early trades, beautiful. So what did not play out that you thought was so great, right? Let's figure that out. After we push lower, let's zoom out a little bit and let's remove all this to actually understand where we think price is heading, all that kind of stuff, right? So zooming out, we have, say, 1 hour time frame. NQ at this point is super bearish. Remove all this to the left of you. Where do you think price will hunt to? Price is most likely always going to be hunting to this external low right here, or this internal low if you're looking at this entire thing. But in terms of that model, that's the external low. Price will always usually hunt to that low. So instead, seeing this move higher was a little bit weird, and some of this was news sparked, but I think a lot of it was actually a little bit of technical analysis that maybe we were just wrong on the day, or maybe we could have seen this better, right? So checking out ES like we looked at earlier, ES goes ahead and it pulls back to general equilibrium in this entire range, and then it hits a fair value gap, finds support and pushes, right? NQ doesn't have any kind of support here. It just has more low resistance lows, except the one thing we could have maybe marked out to be smarter here was consequent encroachment of this previous daily wick. Now, this is one of those things where you could say that someone telling you, bro, it bounced off consequent encroachment is kind of pulling it out of their ass, right? Because there's stuff where I could zoom out to like a yearly, or like, bro, I could zoom out. This is comparable to like going to like weekly and being like, bro, if you grade out this entire range or some shit like that, you grade out this entire range, we bounced off the upper point set. Like, bro, this is one of those things where it's like you can find a reason for every single price move. If I draw a random line on the chart, I'll zoom in. 1 minute. Do that random blue line on the chart. I'll find a spot where this, oh my gosh, that was perfect respect. Look at that. It perfectly respects that level. But that was a random line, right? So you can always find spots. You can always find times in which price is perfectly respecting random levels on the chart. So, I mean, use it in your analysis. Don't use it. I mean, I thought that price would definitely go ahead and run all this low resistance liquidity, right? So what did we end up taking and why is it such a big deal? Let's look. After we see this entire range get created, right, we're now expecting to go to this external low. So drawing out right here, we're expecting to see some kind of pullback. So zooming out of the 15-minute, I thought this looked great to actually examine for time frames, right? The first fair value gap that is in this 15-minute range is right about here. And if we look here, I'll just draw this right here as a city. Now, if we draw the equilibrium in this range, they are relatively perfectly aligned right there. Zoom into the 5-minute. We have 5-minute fair value gaps. Where do we have these bad boys? 5-minute fair value gaps. Where did I take this on? I believe I actually took this trade on ES because I thought that the structure looked better for the internal model here. Yeah, so I took this trade on ES, right? So we have equilibrium of this range, same 15-minute fair value gaps. We have this one right here, and then we have this one right here. So if for me, it's about whichever one is price actually going to hit and then show me that it wants to move off of. I don't really need to see price hit 0.5 or need to see price at the highest fair value gap, but I need to see price hit something and react, right? So zooming to the 1 minute. Actually, I think I took this on a 30-second. So zoom to the 30-second. Jeez, boys. Pulling this over. We see price go ahead and hit that level, right? We see price put in some kind of, we see an external SMT right here with this high. And of course, this is not a very important level, but this is more of a show of relative strength versus weakness when we can pull a low resistance level to the left of us and we can use it to say, okay, ES is above this level, but NQ is not. So NQ is much weaker than ES, right? Just a general thing that we can do, right? So I took this trend on ES because I thought the structure looked way cleaner because NQ had been kind of taking some of these lows, but ES had literally been creating the most perfect trend line liquidity ever, bro. Like, this is the most perfect low resistance liquidity. It's just low hanging fruit, beautiful stuff, right? What do we see? We see us tap this level, beautiful displacement. There is no imbalance that we push into and then we bounce out of. There's none. So what do? We place in this level right here. Boom. We take change in the state, fair value gap. No inverse fair value gap here, but the displacement is so key to actually understanding why this trade played, right? I got literally 0 drawdown on this entry. 0 drawdown. And I was targeting the -2 level as my very first take profit. So it would have been right here, aligned at this low. And then it was after that, this, and then after that, I believe the external level. I was gonna wait until NQ hits the external level and then take it off on ES. That's something else, some sauce for y'all, right? So looking at this, what went wrong? Literally nothing. Literally nothing went wrong. This was beautiful. We had a ton of green, right? Then we slowly just reversed the upside. Literally nothing went wrong. And I took a second entry here as well after we got stopped out here. And I took it with lower size, so I'm not mad about the loss. I wasn't really expecting it to play out after seeing this complete disrespect of my trade idea, but I still took it because I thought that the system was there, and my job is to perfectly apply the system and not get emotional on trades, and because of that, end up losing trades or losing some things, right? So I believe I actually took this on, I took this on NQ, right? We see right when we push up, we end up taking that high, and we actually make this huge back to that equilibrium of that range. We touching that 15-minute fair value gap. I don't think we had any kind of SMT off any high to the left of us, did we? Yeah, not sure. Don't think so off of that. But right when we touched that level, it was immediate support, complete disrespect, inverse fair value gap, complete displacement. Now, if price actually wanted to be efficient here, these are two dreamy models, like so dreamy, these models. This was my second trade. So these levels right here. Absolutely dreamy trade setups. Dreamy, dreamy, dreamy. But price just didn't want to move. I don't care. My job is to sit here and actually just do what I know will make me profitable in the long run every single day. So today, the only thing I didn't do in terms of that is waking up early. And that was a mistake on me. I woke up 40 minutes after market open. Horrible, right? Absolutely horrible. It is my fault. It is my fault that I didn't catch this original beautiful trade and then hop off right after that and just be like, see y'all later, I'm out. Because that, bro, that is what the profitable traders do. Profitable traders don't stay on the market and take every single trade they see here. They don't at all. But they take every single trade that's in line with their setup and within their time that they want to trade, right? So if I want to get on, just trade till 8:10, which is my favorite for me. It's 8:10 on here. It's 11:10 in terms of New York time. But it is till last ditch macro ends. Beautiful trading timing for me. It's only on the charts for about an hour 50 minutes. Wait, pause. An hour 40 minutes. It's beautiful. Is that right? 31, 10, yeah, an hour 40 minutes. It's absolutely beautiful time to trade. You get a ton of efficient movements, especially for my strategy, and I think it's great. I think it's truly great. So, I mean, overall review on the day, nothing really wrong. But I think it's important to look at how price just completely just disrespected the trade idea. And then right here, this huge ass push was, I believe, something with Trump, Japan trade news, and something with the EU trade news. But overall, yet another beautiful day. We are here to cement the process and make the system so ingrained in us that I look at the chart and I look at it in terms of my system, and I'm disgusted at any other thought in my mind of taking a trade that's not my system. Like, truly, these were so perfect. These trade entries were so perfect. This is what I want to take every single day. I'm 100% okay with taking this trade every single day. If I can get this trade every single day, I'll take it every single day. And that is literally, I don't care if I take it every single day and sometimes we lose, because I know that this is so beautiful and it will work out a majority of the time. Watch, it literally worked out perfectly right here. For a great R, it was something around a 4.3 the way I would have held runners, the way my system holds runners. Something towards like down here at this level. Like, this was an absolute beautiful setup. An absolute beautiful setup. If you can follow your system. So, okay, so imagine this. We took this trade in the morning, right? So we risk 1%, we're up 4.23%. We lose 1%, we lose another percent here. Now we're up 2.23% on the day, bro. There's nothing that we can actually be mad at ourselves, because we're up on the day, we followed our system, and we know that if we keep doing this, our equity curve will just rise like this. It's not about beating ourselves up. It's not about caring about the outcome. It's just about caring about the system and the inputs that we can put in. If you guys haven't watched my video, go ahead and watch my video on the invisible film. It will absolutely change the way that you look at applying your system and actually change the way that you think about outcome in trading. Because for me, a lot of the time, I would be so mad if I didn't get a good trade outcome. If I trade lost, I would be so mad. If it got actually this close to take profit, I would have been raging. Like, look at how close. If you took this on NQ, this trade was literally ticks away from take profit. I would have been raging back in the day. But now I don't care, because I recognize that my trade is either going to hit stop loss or it's going to hit take profit. And it's not my job to care about what the market is going to decide to do. It's my job to care about the inputs. I can't go to the NYSE and hit the quant traders and go to the prop trading desk and just smash everything and make them move. Bro, I literally can't do that. My job is to sit here and care about my inputs. If you think that this is impossible, if you think that your system's broke, I ask you, is it the system being broke or is it you being broke? Like, truly understand that, truly think about that. Because your job is to control your inputs and work for the system's output. Work to mirror what the perfect system's output is. We are following a system. We are not trading as ourselves. This is not Charles McHugh's trades. This is my system's trades. And my system is perfect because I've proven it to be profitable millions of times over. My system is proven to be profitable because tons of people use it. Tons of people trade the exact same way as me, and they are all profitable with this. So why should I care about if today's trades are wrong? I have to ask myself, did I trade misaligned with the system? If the trade is misaligned with the system, then it's my fault. If the trade is aligned with the system and I take it, then win or loss, I don't care, because I'm just following the system day after day. I'll tell you guys a million times over, and I'm just repeating myself right now. You should only care about taking your system, and that's it. Just care about being a flawless executor of your system, building good habits day after day, and everything will come to you. That's really all I have to say today, and this is the lesson that the market wanted to show me, and I pray that the market wants to show you, and that you will be receptive and on the frequency of the market to actually see what I'm talking about here. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you guys learned something. So I'm going to let you guys go now. Go ahead and comment something. I pray that you guys go ahead and watch the Invisible Film video, some of my other psychology videos, because this is real trading. This is what real self-mastery and self-discipline actually looks like. The stuff that I talk to you guys about in these videos is absolutely real. So I thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. Without further ado, I'm going to let you guys go. Peace out.